All right, we're going to finish our project and end the term by exporting all of these sequences that we've made into a final project, exporting them into something that we can watch. But in order to get them that way, we need to prepare them a little bit. So I have one document here, which is my project from all term. Been working with that, and I have sequences for each. I'm going to show you some backup if necessary to actually import other things. But here I have a cover animation, just a straightforward animation there. I have another sequence that I'm making too. One of the things I want you to pay attention to is this red bar along the top, and I don't want that. It could slow down some of our exporting and some of our rendering. So I could go up to sequence and render entire work area. That can go fairly quickly, but you'll notice that red bar along here now changes to green, so that goes a little bit more quickly. So you want to do that for everything as you're moving along. All right, so I'm going to make a final sequence here for this project, and all I need to do is go down here at the bottom where it says new item and sequence, and then I'll use the file types that we have been using all semester long, which is AVC HD, 1080p, and 30. I'm going to name it something logical. Final project put together, something that makes sense. Okay, so I have this built already, and the way that this works is really easy. So I have all my sequences over here, and all I need to do is just drag it into my final sequence. Okay, and I can move them however I need to. I can I want to keep the video and the audio together anyway. So that's the easiest way of doing it. If you needed to, like our previous film that we made, our video project that we did earlier, the easiest thing to do is file and get something that is from a separate Premiere project or from something that is not within this particular one. I can just import. And when I come to import, I'm going to bring and just click on the project file that I want to choose. So for example, your video project from earlier was what I want to work on and bring that in. So I'm going to import that, and it asks me project import type. I'm going to choose this bottom one. You can really do both, but I'm just going to choose this bottom one and click OK. It'll give it a second to find the sequence that we need. It doesn't take too long. But we want to run through that as well. And that should show up over here on the left once I actually import it. There it is. I'm just going to click on the sequence itself. I don't need to worry about anything else. I'm just going to click OK. And it brings it in, and it's all over here. And the way that this works is I can twirl that open and I can see everything related to that particular sequence. Okay, so I'm going to bring in that sequence over here and just drop it down. So again, if you have everything a part of the current project, you won't have to do that. But there may be things that you'll have to import independently. So you can just go to File, Import, and find that sequence, that Premiere project in sequence. Okay, so now I have that in. I'm going to turn the sound off on that because it doesn't really matter. But I have this in, and then I've added earlier I added a second one, my animation. I just brought that in, and then my pages 2 and 3 here. So I have those brought in. They look fine. All I need to do is just bring in another sequence as I see fit. So kind of put those together. Okay. The nice thing is that I can go back to something and make some modifications to it. So if I wanted to add in another sound effect on a certain number of pages, I can just drag that sound effect in. I can save this, and then I can come back over here and it should include it automatically. That if it doesn't happen, I can always just select this, delete it, and then bring it back in, and it should include that. So if you need to make changes, that's a good way of doing it. Just go back to the old sequence and then make those changes, save it, and come back in here, and it should be good. Okay. One of the other things that you can add as you're done is to add in one thought about music running over the whole track, over the whole film. You just add that in. So you can add and remove things from previous sequences, save them, and bring them in here, and then you could have the same music if you wanted it running on the back. So that kind of runs you through what you need to go up finally to export and media. Make sure that you use QuickTime up here. Make sure that you change the output name. It will be an MOV file, but it should be something logical like last name underscore final, like that. On class documents, there in the tutorials folder for our class, there's some PDFs available to walk you through these same things about putting it on YouTube, changing it to an M4V, so a second one that's compressed more for a tablet watching, things like that. But now you can go and export. What I would recommend again is on here running that sequence and render entire work area before you actually export it. So that should get you started what you need to do in compiling everything in your project.